we're speaking about event planning, the know-how. We're going to try to teach you how to plan a very successful event. And our guest today, Grace Maele, CEO and founder of Within Essence Production, knows a lot about that.
Alors Gracia, est-ce que tu peux nous parler un peu de tes ambitions par rapport à ce que tu fais, vu que ça fait quelques années déjà que tu organises pas mal d'événements?
Bien sûr. Thank you, ladies, for having me on this show. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to talk to you guys a bit about what I do and being able to position a successful event. Now, if I were to talk about what is the motivation or the inspiration behind what I do, for me, it's something that's come naturally. I think I've always been someone who's hands-on, who loves to manage, who loves to direct, and those are key components that you see as far as event planning is concerned. You have to have a strong sense of organization, but at the same time, too, it's something that you have to have the heart for, and I believe that's a huge part of what I have in my business is the heart for it.
All right, can you talk to us a little bit about how you started your own company? I mean, you're a young entrepreneur. We don't see a lot of young people starting in such an amazing business venture that has also been very successful. So can you speak to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, I gave birth to Within Essence Productions about 2 years ago. We're actually kissing our third year sometime in November by God's grace. Well, it's something that really kind of that I gave life to after we actually both did I Am Fashion, which was 3 years ago? Yes,
3 years ago.
About 3 years ago. You should know as well, right? Because you've been one of our models. But all jokes aside, I've always been very entrepreneurial. I think I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was in university and prior to that, but Within Essence Productions really came about in May 2009. So I mentioned a bit of when we launched I Am Fashion. After that event that we launched that was so successful, it kind of gave me a little light bulb, and it opened a door, and it kind of also enlightened my spirit. So that's really when everything kind of started from there, because there was so much that was involved with that production, but at the same time too, there was so much that I was already doing in that case, and it just kind of like mended the broken pieces that I was trying to put all together.
So I think a lot of viewers would like to know, what is Within Essence? What do you do exactly?
Absolutely. Well, Within Essence Productions is a lifestyle production firm. So what we do is specialize in brand management, fashion, and in event planning. So what we love to do, and the focus of the business, is really to build networking platforms for emerging entrepreneurs who are starting up in business and also in fashion in the region. So that's really the essence of what it is. Hence why I was saying it's important to have the heart for what you're doing to be able to implement it properly. And you'll see that, and you'll see that formula always coming back when you're also trying to put an event forward, because when you're putting an event forward, you're building a foundation. It's like a foundation that you're building up because there's a process to it. So that's really what it is.
Now, a lot of people want to plan an event, whether it's their wedding, whether it's a fashion show. I mean, we've talked about fashion show and organized them, whether it's just a get-together. But a lot of them are also scared because it's a lot of organization.
That's right.
And so can you talk a little bit in depth about how to make sure that your event is a successful one in terms of everything, including budget? I mean, budget is a big issue for people.
Number one, absolutely. I like that question a lot, because you mentioned a key component. You said for people that want to have a wedding, people that want to do a private anniversary, a fashion show or whatnot. And the reason why I say it's an important component is because first things first, you want to define the grassroots foundation of what your event type is, because there are different types of events. Doing a corporate event and doing a fashion show are two different things, and the etiquette is different, the implementation is different, the variables that you have to consider are completely different. Now, going back to what's going to make it successful or not, hence, like I said, defining the grassroots foundation of the type of it, and also knowing what the purpose of the event is. Like, don't just throw an event just to throw an event. What is the impact that you're trying to have? And I always say, what's going to make an event successful is what you're able to make out of it. For instance, are you able to inspire your audience? Who is your target to begin with? Are you going to provide the proper call to action? What is it that you're really trying to do? And I feel like knowing different elements like that is what's going to target and align the type of event and focus that you're trying to bring. Because launching a corporate event, for instance, are you looking to increase your sales? Are you trying to launch a new venture? fashion show, you're showcasing your clothes. You need to know the target that you're trying to reach out to. How are you gonna go about that? Which vendors are you going to reach out to? Are you going to hire a professional? Hence, you should. But you see what I mean? There's different things that you have to consider, and I feel like knowing the focus you have and the drive behind it, and understanding, again, the foundation of it is what's going to make it successful. And I always say, if you're able to inspire, able to give, able to make a little something, it's successful indeed.
All right. And so, is there a checklist for... Well, there's always a checklist, but are there things that come back, whether you're doing a corporate event, whether you're getting married, you're organizing you're planning your wedding, whether you're having like a private anniversary or fashion show, is there some stuff that come back in the checklist for all of these events?
Absolutely, you said it, budget. A lot of people like budget. You need to know how much you want to spend and how much you can spend. And just because you don't have, let's say, for instance, if you want to do something, Hollywood-like or whatnot, even if you don't have that budget, you have to know how to play that atmosphere with a small budget. And I feel like those are things that you'll never be able to run away. Whether you're doing a wedding, whether you're doing a private function, whether you're doing a birthday anniversary, you need to have a budget. Even if you say, I don't know, you do know. You know what I mean? So it's important for you to know, again, how much you can spend versus how much you want to spend, because it plays a lot. Because then knowing how much you can spend is going to play out on the resources that you're going to try and bring in to make your event successful. So it's always good to have that and not just know it, but also keep track of it. So it's something that always comes back, and it's number one. Like, there's so many things, obviously, that you'll have on a checklist, but if there's anything you have to consider, reconsider, play upon, and know how to tackle is your budget. Because things always change, right? Mm-hmm. You can have a budget going in, and the next thing you know, you're going out. So budget is very crucial, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Et en termes de promotion,
oui.
Est-ce que tu pourrais nous donner un peu une idée de quelle part ça a dans tout le processus? Parce que oui, on peut planifier un événement, que ce soit tout à fait un succès, mais s'il n'y a pas de gens...
C'est une très bonne question, parce que justement, c'est pour ça que c'est important de connaître aussi l'essence du type d'événement que tu cherches à faire, parce que, like I was saying earlier, different types of events require different standards. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, if I'm going to focus on corporate, since this is one of my favorites that I love to do, if I'm trying to position an event for my brand, I have to know who my target audience is, because if I know where my target is, then I know where to reach out to them. So if my target niche is online, then I know I have to advertise and promote them online, whether it be via social mediums like Twitter, whether it be via Facebook, because this is where I'm trying to reach out to them. So I'm going to make sure that I'm engaging them, not trying to always sales pitch them, but engaging them in such a way where they're connecting and relating to the event I want to invite them in. And I think that's a key component of understanding, engaging your audience. That's mm-hmm. a great way to promote yourself efficiently. Another way, word of mouth is a powerful one. We all know the more you speak about it and get everybody else to speak about it, that's the big tool that you can use, but you have to know how to use those natural abilities to really promote yourself and also allow people to hear your voice. Your voice has power. Use that. That's a tool. That's a promotional tool. So for me, those are key things that I always like to play, but you have to know. And I think that the way you're going to advertise and market for one event is not how you're going to do it for other events, but you just have to know who you're targeting, because if you understand who you're targeting, you're going to know how to do what you're trying to do, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that everything is strategically aligned and that there's a specific focus for what it is. So if you're a business trying to launch something, you have to understand what your brand focus is to begin with.
You have attended a lot of events as well. You've planned many events, and you've attended some. Can you talk to us a little bit about the common mistakes that some people make while planning events?
Oh, Lord. Not measuring all angles. Common mistakes. Not measuring all angles, I guess. And not really understanding the focus of why they're doing the event to mm-hmm. begin with. It might sound abstract and vague to some people, like, oh, that sounds too deep, but positioning an event is deep. You have to know the atmosphere, and I'm going to go back to your question earlier when you said, what makes an event successful? What makes it successful is the experience that you're able to provide mm-hmm. to your audience. So if you don't provide the experience, how do you expect people to react and relate to it? People are just going to leave and feel empty. So I feel missing out on that angle by understanding your niche, understanding the emotion that you're trying to relate via your event, is a mistake. Another powerful one as well is budget. You know, when you're planning, sometimes you could be over your head because you're not really holding yourself accountable to certain pieces financially, and at the same time too, not utilizing the resources that you can utilize to mend those pieces when you're positioning an event. Like for instance, if you need to plug in some sponsorships, for instance, you need to know that. So you need to calculate where are those risks, where are those needs that you can cover, and who you could bring in, bringing in the proper team to do your job. Hiring a professional. I always say it makes things so better when you hire professionals to do it, or you align yourself with professionals, right? Because essentially you don't want to plan anything in an amateur way. So you have to really understand that. So I find that those are common mistakes that you can make, like just not measuring all the angles properly, not really conducting something that's going to provide an experience for your for your audience. And again, it's very powerful because what you do is going to define what others do and how others react to your event, whatever it is. If you're getting married, how do you want your guests to feel after the wedding? If you're positioning a fashion show, how do you want the people to react? Because you're showcasing as a designer or whoever. How do you want people to react? If you're doing a private birthday party, how do you want your people to react? You want to be the talk of the town, or whatever the case may be. If you're doing a launch, how many sales are you trying to make? You know, whatever the case may be.
So you talked about something that's interesting and also can be important, especially if you've never planned an event before, which is hiring a professional. However, when we think about the budget per se, that can be something that scares people, because when you think about, oh, I'm going to hire a professional for my wedding, and you watch all these reality TV shows, it's often a little bit expensive, and people don't necessarily think that they have the means to hire a professional person. So what would be your advice to them?
I love that question. I really love that you asked that, because there's a certain mindset that you need to have, and I think it's important for people to understand that. Number one, turn your TV off. Reality TV is not your reality. So build your own reality by going back on the map and understanding what you really need. And let's put it this way: if you can go buy a pair of shoes, then you could afford everything you want to afford, right? But all jokes aside, I always say to that, and again, depending on the standard that you have for your event, it really depends, and every planner is not going to be the one for you. It all depends, right? But as professionals, we are there to also help you and guide you. So which means if you can't opt in for a full planning, let's say, then you can go into a consultancy, just so you can have somebody guide you through, right? And just kind of just offer give you some help or whatnot. But I would also say it's worth the investment. But if you can't afford it, just look at how, if you could just look at how you can opt in to be consulted by a professional, or at least hire people around you, or surround yourself with people that can really be beneficial to whatever it is that you're planning. But I believe, hey, if you're willing to do it, then you're willing to invest, right? But you have to understand why you're going to invest in whatever you invest. Just because you're doing an event doesn't mean you necessarily need that, but you need to know why. I always say you need to know why. Before you bring up my phone, you need to know why you're calling. But no, seriously.
Yeah. And so also, I know you talked about the hiring a professional, but also I know that you blog a lot. You give a lot of advice. Is there a website in which our viewers can go to get some advice on organizing an event? Do you have a little something that you could share with our viewers?
I'd be more than happy to do so. So I could be reached at 613-240-3201. I am your best source, so you could call me directly. You could also email me at grace@withenessenceproductions.com, and you could also visit my website at www.withenessenceproductions.com.
All right. Well, Grace, we really want to thank you for coming to the show today. It's been really insightful. I think that we learned a lot about events.
Merci pour tous les conseils.
Our viewers also learned a lot about event planning. And like Grace said, you can definitely reach her via phone or directly on her website with her email.
And I'm on Twitter at Within Essence. Follow me.
At Within Essence on Twitter, right?
Absolutely.
So this was The Opinion, and as you know, on The Opinion, our guests never leave empty-handed, and so we also have a cute little present our choice of cute little presents for our beautiful Grace from Within SS Productions, Letitia.
I appreciate that. Can I just bring the box?
Of course.
Oh, this is kind of hard. Oh, I think big.
Yeah. These are some fabulous earrings that you can wear while planning an event or like the night of an event.
And I like to look fabulous when I walk around and plan.
It's gonna look really sexy.
Thank you.
All right, that was L'Opinion with Anaïs and Grace. We thank you for viewing our show and see you next Tuesday.